Okay, now, if you're diagnosed with the cancer, they will probably recognize the biopsy. Let me say, men, that especially if you're a youngish man, anytime anyone interferes with your prostate gland, okay, you go from here to there.
Exactly what you're talking about.
Right. Anytime anyone does that to you with your prostate, all right, so that is what happens. And you may not regain your potency for another year, 2 years, or never. So that's something to be aware of. So what I'm suggesting is prevention is better than cure.
Absolutely.
Right? So every year you go and you have the different tests, the digital rectal examination especially. And all this is that a nurse will put a glove on her finger. She'll put a little bit of cream on it. And she will insert just about 1.5 inches into your back passage. Because nature has made the human body, or the male body in such a way, that the only way you can get to the prostate without surgery is through your back passage, right? And she will feel your prostate gland. And what she's actually feeling for is any sign of hardness or rigidity, which would indicate that there's a tumor there. Then at that point you will say, have a biopsy, okay? If it is smooth, right, no problem.
Yeah, I told you it was very interesting. And I know it's a lot of information, but he's here if you want to wander around afterwards and talk with him or ask him for his website. You can go and find out more. I'm going to call my next speaker, Stephanie Ridley, who's our nutritionist. Very interesting woman. We had her last year when we spoke about what can we do to reduce the risk of cancer. And she gave us some really insightful information.
My name's Steph, and as Julie said, I'm a registered nutritional therapist. Most people kind of think they're not going to see a nutritionist because she's going to tell me to eat more vegetables that I don't want to eat and stop having the biscuits, and that's never going to happen, or don't drink the alcohol because I like to have a drink. But nutritional therapy, and any nutritional therapist, registered nutritional therapist that you see, takes very much a kind of individual approach. So it's all about working with people with any kind of chronic health issue, be it digestive or skin issues or autoimmune conditions or anything, and being very individual with the approach and looking at the whole body health and the health history and trying to find ways in which targeted nutrition can help to improve that individual's kind of well-being. So that's kind of, it's a bit more, it's not just about eat your vegetables, it's more than that. And what I wanted to kind of start with, put in context really, is the whole kind of nutrition umbrella. So if you, is nutrition important? Do we need to think about it? If you imagine a tree, just imagine a really beautiful tree that's flourishing, and what you can't see are the roots, the massive root system beneath it. And those roots are keeping that tree alive. They are taking in water and nutrients that that tree needs to be able to grow and thrive in, and sort of thrive in its environment. And our bodies are very much the same. If we don't provide our bodies with the nutrients and the energy and the water that it needs, then our health can start to suffer as a result. So that's the kind of sort of bigger picture. And our bodies have this amazing ability to heal. I think we've heard so many stories about, if you meet your body halfway, if you give it the sort of nutrition and the activity and the sleep in order to rest and recover, and have a kind of space for positive thinking, then your body has the ability to heal and recover. And it's incredible. I mean, if you break a bone, it heals. If you cut yourself, it heals. It's amazing what our bodies are capable of doing. So you kind of have to meet it halfway. Now, where does stress come into that? If you imagine a person who's kind of doing everything right. They're eating well most of the time, they're kind of physically active enough of the time, they get enough sleep most of the time, they're kind of pretty positive in their lives. And then you throw a sort of blanket of stress over them. You throw, maybe it's debt, or maybe it's a sick relative, or it's family, or it's children issues, relationship issues, a busy job, not getting enough sleep, not being well themselves. There's a whole host of things that everybody suffers with and everybody has stress of. And if you kind of throw that at them, and then sit back and see how easy is it for them now to eat healthily. Are they so inspired to do that? Do they just want to, like, I'm too tired, I'm not going to cook this lovely meal, I'll just grab something. Are they sleeping well? They're probably not able to sleep as well. Are they feeling motivated to be physically active? It's much harder to find the space to do that when you've got so many other things going on, so many other things on your mind. And so you can start to see how the stress that our bodies are kind of covering and dealing with have an effect, knock-on effect to our health and the choices and what we're able to sort of cope with. So stress can affect our health in that way. But if I just take a minute to think about different types of stress, because there's good stress and there's bad stress. So if we think about what stress is for a moment, aside from all of those things that I spoke about, there's the good stress that if you step out into the road and a bus is coming at you, you have this fight or flight response that you'll jump out of the way. You won't need to think there's a bus coming, I need to move. Your body will instantly react to that. It's fight or flight response, and that's a very good stress mechanism that we have. It's for survival. But we can't cope with that on a day-to-day basis. It's just an instant thing that we then sort of recover from. What we're not able to deal with so much is this chronic stress, like I mentioned before, all these kind of things that people are experiencing so much more these days. And that long-term chronic stress gradually kind of wears the body down, and it has an effect on our health in other ways as well. It doesn't just affect the choices that we make or affect the energy that we have to make positive lifestyle choices, it also affects our health. So it affects your digestion. When you're stressed, you don't have as much blood within the digestive system. It's taken to muscles and things for you to be able to move to respond to that stress. So long term, it has an effect on digestive issues. It can affect our mental well-being. You get much higher rates of anxiety and depression when there's constant chronic stress. It affects our immune system, which is a massive one, and that's the one I want to just kind of touch on now. Because when we think about what cancer is, in its simplest form, cancer is typically a cell that is growing out of control. Now, our immune systems are able to, there's a surveillance system, and they're constantly, we have these cells within us, all of us do, all the time, but our immune systems are set up to be able to have this surveillance system and catch them, and there are specific immune cells that will destroy those cancer cells. But when our immune system is weakened, then it's much easier for those cells to go under the radar and to not be picked up. And I want to just read a sentence to you from a medical journal. This was from a medical journal called Lancet Oncology. So it's a well-recognized journal. And it's a review, which is a really good, bless you. It's a really, a review means that they've looked at multiple studies and taken a kind of summary from them all. So it's worth kind of taking note of what they find.
Mike, are you ready? Okay, so we're going to have Mike, the great Mike, from Forever Living, and he's going to talk about the product and how it can benefit you. Are you going to be relating it with stress and... No. Okay, so he's going to be talking about Forever Living products.
Thank you very much. My name is Mike Philwell from Forever Living. I'm going to just talk generally about appreciating today, and then talking a very, very brief introduction about aloe vera and how it can help in general maintenance of good health. And any further details, you can have a chat with us at the back. So, in recognising today, first of all, I'd like to say a big thank you to Julie for putting this regular event on. For me, it's a great delight to be able to support Macmillan's Coffee Morning. this is the second year that we're Forever actually doing this. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be here last year because of a family issue. Again, my mother-in-law actually died of ovarian cancer September last year, so that's why I wasn't able to be here, but a colleague of mine was here to support. And that's why, again, for me, it's important that I actually support Julie every year. So, a little bit about Forever. Name of our company, as I said, is Forever Living Products. We're a privately owned company, and we're a health and wellness company, and with offices in over 150 countries around the world. We are the world's largest growers and manufacturers of organically grown aloe vera. It's really important to us that our aloe is grown organically, so it has no pesticide and nastiness that you often get on the commercial market. The company has over 10 million independent distributors or independent business owners, of which myself and my colleagues at the back are part of that number. But aloe vera, what is aloe vera? Not a lot of people know about it. Then there is a lot of people that do know about it. So just a brief introduction about aloe vera. It's known by a different number of names around the world. Some call it the medicine plant, some call it the silent healer. And that's because it has some healing properties within it that helps the body to actually sustain a good general health. That's a bit about that. Cancer. Now, this is something that at some stage we affect each and every one of us, either directly or indirectly. And that's why this event is really, really important to me. As I mentioned earlier, my mother-in-law passed away with that, with ovarian cancer. And I commend what Julie is doing with Macmillan's in terms of the support and what they do. Now, aloe vera and cancer itself. As Forever is not a medical company, or we don't manufacture drugs, so we can't actually make medical claims. But what I will touch on is some things that I found on the Cancer Research UK website and what it says about aloe vera and cancer. It says people mainly use aloe vera for skin conditions, and that's, to this, some evidence is to support of minor skin problems and burns. So that's actually on the Cancer UK website. It's usually used in support of skin issues, especially if they're going through chemo and radiotherapy, which they do have a lot of burns arising out of that. So aloe vera can help in helping healing of those burns. It goes on further to say that some people, excuse me, sorry, it's an emotional subject for me because I was close to my mother-in-law, so I get emotional about it. Some people use aloe vera to help heal sunburns, which I've already said. It's also recommended by specialist nurses, radiographers in the medical field as well. So, and all they say is that because it's got the healing properties in terms of helping with burns, it's something that can be used during and after treatment of chemo and radiotherapy. The other thing that Stephanie actually alluded to early on is about how nutrition and the immune system, you know, one of the things that is a written fact about aloe vera is that it does help the boosting of the immune system. I know people personally who have taken aloe vera after the treatment of chemo and radiotherapy, and it helps because when they go through that treatment, it kills both the good and the bad cells, and it brings your immune system down. So one of the things that is usually beneficial is if you are drinking aloe vera, it can help to pick up your immune system. Anything that can help in the picking up of your immune system will definitely help your overall healing process. As I was saying, it's known that a strong immune system with the body will help with general good health anyway. Something that Stephanie was alluding to about the immune system. Aloe will help to boost your immune system. it will help that. And if you've got a good immune system, the body will generally actually fight a lot of illnesses, because your body's defenses are there to support it and keep it nice and strong. In our household, we have a common joke that we only get a one-day cold, and that's because we drink calorie every morning. And once a cold, you get the sniffles in the morning, by the evening it's gone, because your body is strong enough to deal with it. That is how we deal with it. And and again, that's one of the beauties about drinking aloe. So as an independent business owner, just to wrap up, as an independent business owner, it's really important to support events like this. And that's why I think Julie said earlier on, I put myself to raise as much money as possible. Pleased to say, well, you said it was 400 and something. I'm pleased to say that we've now sold 1 or 2 products and it's now over the 500 mark. But I'm still looking to raise more. So what we were doing today at the Forever stand is that all the profits today goes towards Macmillan's. So be rest assured, if you're buying anything on our stand today, we're not actually making any profit, because all the profit is going to the cause. In finishing off, I'd just like to congratulate Julie again for such a great job. And I know we started last year. Yes. This is our second year. And I'm looking forward to working with you in the years to come. So I've actually got it booked in my diary now. Every last Friday in September, I'm taking a day off to be here. So thank you very much for listening to me, and I look forward to seeing you.
Hi everyone. Thank you for having me this afternoon, and I want to say a big thank you to Julie for putting on this wonderful event. And I learned about the events via WhatsApp. We share as part of the Black Business Hub. So I learned about it 2 weeks ago, and I decided, oh wow, this is a great opportunity to come and just talk a little bit about the importance and the relevance of keeping ourselves healthy, looking after our health, because once we lose our health, we've lost everything. And one of my philosophies in life is, many times when we are approached or introduced to a very good product that will help our health, many people put this idea off, saying, I haven't got the money, I haven't got the time. But one thing I do know is that the minute we lose our health, we will travel the whole world to get it back. And unfortunately, by then, it is way too late. Sometimes the damage is so badly gone wrong that it's irreversible. So sometimes it's good to keep an open mind about information that we come across. I'm very passionate about finding cure and further help with regards to cancer, because I lost a dear man a couple of years ago from cervical cancer. And while she was undergoing treatments at the hospital, lo and behold, at the 7 years of her completing that remission process, she was diagnosed with bowel cancer. So they missed the telltale signs completely, even though she was undergoing chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and it is literally in the same area, but they just missed the symptoms. And unfortunately, she survived from the cervical cancer, but she passed away from the bowel cancer. So, and millions of pounds have gone into just helping her and to sustain her health, but yet the doctors failed once again. My table at the back, my core business is Mary Kay, but as Julie says, I'm not here to talk about the beauty side of what I do, because of course, it's nice to look beautiful on the outside, but it's also even better to look much more beautiful on the inside. And one of the products that I come to work with at the moment, because of my passion in helping people to sustain their health, prevention is better than cure, as the old adage goes. We actually have today on my stand a very, very wonderful product, the Kangen water. I don't know if you've come across it before. It's big in America. It's first established in Japan, and it so happened that this machine is available in all the hospitals in Japan. it is yet for the UK government to obviously open up the market. So it's just been introduced to the UK community, and it's taking off with great. People are quite keen to talk about, how can I put good, healthy water inside of my body? So the Kangen water, we were told that we're supposed to have 8 glasses of water per day, because our bodies are made up of more than 75 to 80% water. And every cell, tissue, organ in our bodies need to survive on good water, good healthy water. As we know, many people say, okay, I can have my water from the tap, or I can go out and buy bottled water. It's better. But tap water, unfortunately, is so full of contaminants plus chemicals, which ultimately is equal to harming our bodies when we're putting chlorine and all these other things that we're getting from our tap water. And so what I do when I go out to do these workshops and tests is to just illustrate to people that the water that we get from our tap is very acidic. And as a right gentleman said earlier, our bodies cannot survive cancer if it's in an acidic state. The more alkaline our bodies are, the better it is for us to survive or to even prevent, falling into that pitfall. Many people think that bottled water seems, like a better option, but unfortunately, the process that's highly involved is completely unregulated. The chemicals it leaves from the plastic containers, and as we know, water, which is acidic, affects the pH of our bodies and the antioxidant balance, which has been repeated several times in the different presentations that's already been done. Bottled water is not a good, I don't buy bottled water myself. Before I come to this awareness, I would normally boil my water and I think, yes, that's it. It's better than bottled water. But having come into this new knowledge that even the water that you boil to make your soup in your kettle, it is still below 7.5. It's still acidic. And so I carry out many tests as I go along to demonstrate to people that, for example, bottled water, for most bottled water, it's below 7.5, it's about 6.0. I think the best one on the market is Evian and Volvic, and even that is not alkaline, it's below the alkalinity pH scale. And of course, we know that when we buy bottled water, it ends up in our landfills, it ends up in our community, and in our rivers, destroying our ecosystem. So the best alternative on the market at the moment is one product that is there to correct this problem and to give us clean, healthy drinking, yummy water, and it helps to reduce harmful household chemicals. So the machine can produce up to 7 different types of water. And so it goes through, it's healthy for our homes as well, because we have one of the key buttons on the Kangen water machine is the clean sanitary water. So you can use it, which means you don't have to use bleach or all these, disinfectants and all these different things we use to clean our homes. It's perfectly okay if you have any scratch or blemishes or bruise or skin infection, hair infection. It's perfectly okay to use the water because it also has a medicinal side. And this is also very much backed and endorsed by many professional doctors. So I do have a website. You can go on to read up a little bit more about this water and how it can be beneficial to your to our health, and to just make ourselves taking care of ourselves a lot more. So the water that this machine produces, it gets filtered through electrolysis to produce super hydrating, alkaline, and antioxidant water. It is a portable system, and the idea is to have one of these machines attached to your tap. So you don't get the water directly from the tap. One of us will come out and will connect it to your tap. And so if you wanted to, for example, for many of us who are already ill or wants to be, we can use the water to, like strong medicinal water, to take our medication, to make our baby formulas. So, and they're just, various different buttons that are there. If you wanted to have a glass of water, again, the machine produces up to 9.5 alkaline water. So there are different levels. For making a hot drink, it would be 8.5 alkaline water, and etc. So there's 7 different water, and the water travels through the double carbon antibacterial filter to remove contaminants and chlorine, giving us the best quality water that we have, which is about 11.5 at the moment. Another benefit of this machine is that it passes through the 7 electrical charged platinum dipped titanium plates, producing Kangen and energic water full of antioxidants and alkaline, which will fully hydrate and oxidize the body's organ and glands. And the question is always, how can I have this water in my home? You can come to me and speak with me at the end, and I will give you a full demonstration. The idea is always, when we come to these seminars and events, it's always difficult to have a tap that we can attach the machine to demonstrate. So normally we need access to electricity and a tap so we can screw on the equipment, and then we can just show you the different quality of water. But I do have some bottles with my contact details, and I can quickly zip to the kitchen, and I can just also at the end provide you with some bottled water to take away. I can also do the test at the back so you can see that you're definitely walking away with water of a very alkaline value of up to 9.5%. We also, I'll stop there for now because I know time is probably against us. The other product that I actually work with at the moment is the Angel Secrets. It is a sanitary napkin. And at the moment, you might be aware, especially as women, that the sanitary towels that we use on the market at the moment is all recycled material. There's no absolutely product sanitary towel for women on the market at the moment that is not made of recycled material. The sanitary towel that I'm actually working with at the moment, it has no recycled, it has no chemical, it's all natural products, it's all plant-based. And the lining, we have a very unique item in the sanitary towel, which is negative iron core. And the negative iron core in the sanitary towel, it has many benefits, such as it eliminates odor, it helps with, it is an active antibacterial, it is anti-inflammatory, antifungal, it balances the body's pH, it restores hormonal balance, promotes metabolism, enhances blood circulation, and regulates blood and body cells. It improves your sleep quality because you're adding iron to your body, and I don't need to kind of go into too much details. As you know, there's that opening, so it means that for most of the sanitary towels that we use, every sanitary towels, and tests reveal that it is full of dioxin. And dioxin, when it enters into our body, it's worse than arsenic, very poisonous. Every sanitary towel out there has dioxin, which is a poisonous substance that can stay in our bodies for up to 11 years. And these are the chemical and products and poisonous things that's causing cervical cancer. It is also good for men as well. It is known if, like for most ladies, when they buy these sanitary towels, they take it home, they open it, and there's the negative iron core that they can remove, and it helps with prostate cancer. Doctors recommend that if you can remove the negative iron core, you can put it on that area, and it helps with many symptoms and even to prevent and cure most of these conditions that are affecting both men and women. So it's something worthwhile. I do have a video presentation that I'm sending around as by way of educating ourselves. If you do leave your contacts, I will be able to send you a link to my website, and even to come to your home or any small events that you may have, and I will do a live demonstration for you, and so that you can be aware of these things that is harming ourselves. Because sometimes we think that, we know all there is, but it's good to be open-minded about our health and all the help that's out there for us. Thank you for your time. I do. That's the ultimate, yes, service that I provide. I come to your home and I'll do a demo in the comfort of your home. Just give me a call and I'll book it for you.
You've heard it here yourself. All right, now we've got our final speaker, Ricardo, who's a sports therapist.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a bit disappointed that I didn't know about the one you done last year because the focus was preventative.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm always missing opportunity because it would have been excellent to share the stage with some of the other health professionals, things like that, to talk about what I do and what can be done in terms of tackling cancer. I suppose, let me just start quickly about myself. I studied sports science in 1996 and I've done a postgraduate qualification in exercise behavioral medicine. I've also got a qualification in GP referral, exercise and prescription. I'm also sports massage therapist. And in 2015, I done a course, Can Rehab. I don't know if you've heard of Can Rehab. Some of you who have been doing some work with Macmillan might have heard of Can Rehab. Yeah, the 12-week program. So Can Rehab, they've got a level 4 exercise qualification. So they train people in terms of delivering exercise-specific programs and training for people with cancer in order to help them in terms of not only when you have cancer, but also preventative, that is pre-op, leading up to op, or leading up to chemo, or taking treatment. My learned friend here, Vasco, son of Stephen, as myself, son of John, he did mention about cancer coming back twice and being more aggressive. And that is not actually correct. It's actually the fact that it's not that the cancer is more aggressive, but your immune system is a lot weaker. So therefore, when we talk about exercise and training and physical activity, pre-op, it is all about that immune system. So that's something that people tend to overlook a lot in terms of exercise and the role of exercise and what it can and what it can't do. So that's in regard to that. So throughout that period of time from 1996, where I studied sports science and done a postgraduate exercise medicine, I worked at the Royal Free Hospital in physiotherapy for 3 years. I also taught sports science, and I also taught anatomy, physiology, access to nursing foundation degree. And within that, I was teaching a little bit about different cancers and illnesses and conditions. My mum's a nurse, one of the original Windrush nurses from England. So I've got a little medical kind of thing going on in my family as well. So it's about 23, 24 years working in and around health, being around it. I studied sports science, and not necessarily in terms of being cancer specific initially. It was more in terms of my interest in sport. I was a big cricket fanatic. I used to bunk school and go and watch with Richards when he used to butter England. And within the context of that, I said, okay, then do something in sport. And I went to study sports science. And one said, what kind of something that? Yeah, what kind of sports science? I said, Mum, it's science. Science and something. She said, all right then, but I'm going to see how far you go with this thing. And I kind of like managed to get away with it for a little bit until I kind of able to stand on my own 2 feet. So the whole thing around sports science and sports therapy, within the context of what we're talking about in cancer, is looking at exercise, physical education and exercise, because physical education is as much about educating people about what you can do physically as well. Within our community, and there's a variety of different health-related issues that I don't know what's the right word to use in terms of things that are set upon us, in terms of issues and challenges. And we're fighting so many different things on so many different fronts. I tend to find that within myself, my learned son of Stephen here, and other individuals also, there tends to be a little bit of an internal battle, diet versus exercise, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I tend to find that there's too much, well, it's all about what you eat, and it's not. I'm not here to challenge or to fight any nutritionist or anybody who's talking about diet and things like that. I'm here to compliment.
Yeah.
I'm always here to compliment. That's what I'm here to do. And when we talk about it's the World Health Organization, their definition of health. And if you look at it within the general context of being healthy is being physical, emotional, and social well-being. So that's three things you've got. So if you take a triangle and you've got 3 points in the triangle, one point doesn't supersede the other point. So having good social well-being, having good physical well-being, and then having good mental well-being, all three need to be in sync. So if your living environment isn't right, if you're psychologically you're stressed, then you're not well. And if you're physically not active, then they all kind of work together. So it's really, really important that physical activity and keeping active is in sync with what you're eating and your diet. And it's also in sync with your environment as well, and how your environment plays an active role in terms of your state of mind and being peace of mind. Because there is an important element of being at peace and your T cells, and then certain physiology around your immune system, and your immune system being able to fight certain things. And you may have heard about the placebo effect, and there may be some people who have not heard about it. I don't know if anybody hasn't heard about it. Can they show of hands? Okay. So the placebo effect is a state of mind that you get into where they get people and they have a guy drink this cup, and you must drink it 3 times a day for 2 weeks. I'm not going to tell you what's in it, and you guys drink another cup. I'm not going to tell you what's in it. And they deliberately mix the cups up on purpose so that when they're testing a medication or a drug, or they're testing a treatment or something like that, let's imagine that we're going to put it in the cups and then it's going to be random. We don't know who's drinking what, so that they can test the results. And if everybody in the room knows that they're involved in an experiment, and the experiment it's all about curing obesity to make people lose weight. And you tend to find that everybody will start to lose weight, even the people that's drinking the dud and not the real one. So the placebo effect is the fact that, just the mere fact that you know that you're taking part in the experiment, your actual immune system and your cells actually start to work, even if you're drinking, as my uncle would say, you're drinking the Bandulu one, the one that don't work. You're drinking the dud. So the placebo effect is quite a phenomenon, and it's quite an important human phenomenon as well. So why I mention that is because I'm just giving an example of the mental state and how your mental state can have such a big impact on things. Yeah? In relation to stress and cancer, I did bring my table over there. It's kind of lonely because nobody hasn't christened it yet. My table over there, it's lonely. But we'll see after I finish speaking if I get a cue or not.
Code red cancelled, code red cancelled. Thank you.
Okay, no more code red. All right. And 2 things that I want to mention. One thing in relation to women who have breast cancer and have vasectomies, people who have breast implants. When you have scar tissue, especially around the back of the shoulder blade, where they cut and then they pull the skin and put the implant in. Where you develop scar tissue, you can actually use massage to help to relieve some of that scar tissue. So it's actually something that there's a lot of clinical input there in terms of helping to reduce the effects of the scar tissue. Yeah. So sports massage therapy as a form of treatment to be done in conjunction with people who have had an operation where you've got scar tissue from breast cancer, it's a very useful thing from that perspective. So I don't want, even though today is mainly focusing on stress, I want people to understand as well, there is some other benefits to it as well. It's not just a question of I'm getting a massage to just relax and de-stress and take my mind away. There's actual clinical input there. It has a benefit, yeah? People that have got myeloma and Hodgkin's, those conditions there, massage is very, very good for circulation. So again, it has a clinical input. It's not just to relieve stress. Yeah? So those are two good examples of how you can use massage in those particular ways. In terms of exercise and physical activity, it's a very, very, very good way in terms of, especially with the placebo effect in your endorphins. Physical exercise helps to raise your endorphin levels. Yeah? So leading up to when you have your medication, those who are taking chemo, weeks leading up to preparing the body for chemo, and then when you take the chemo really knocks your immune system. The more resistant you are, and then the days after your chemo, the more physically active you are and the more physically prepared your body is through exercise, the less likely you are to have a come down after your chemo. That's very, very, very important to understand that. So there are direct physiological and medical benefits to exercise and also to sports massage therapy. Okay, so those are two really, really good things that I hope people can take away. This is a really, really, really good event. Again, I'm really disappointed in myself that I didn't know about it last year, and I would have felt a little bit more to, but I'll remember now it's the last September. The last Friday in September. I'll try to keep it in my diary, and you know, I've got my laptop with me, and I was ready to do like a school class, like a biology lesson and thing with some body parts and all of them something there. So we can do the school thing, yeah, if we want. But that's the most important thing in relation to that. I've got some flyers over there, and I'm usually at the L'Oreal's GP practice, mainly Thursdays and Fridays, but I'm also there other times as well. And I'm also around, do various workshops and different things, anything around sports science and health and fitness and things like that. Okay, and just like man and woman for work together, diet and exercise, same thing. Is not nobody not fighting nobody, you know. Yeah, married together. Okay, that's all, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Thank you. Listen, I want to thank all of my speakers: Stephanie, Mike, Cece, Ricardo, our keynote speakers. When you come here every week, every year, there's something that you can take away from all of it. I'm coming into real experts, and they know their stuff. And if you listen to all the talk, all of them overlap, all of them with the alkaline in your body and all of it, so you know that you're getting the right stuff now. So tell your friends next year, come out, bring a friend with you. Don't come here by yourself. There's good information to be gathered here. Yeah. Now, I don't want to leave without giving anybody the opportunity to share their experience. If they've gone through cancer, or if they know somebody that has, and they think that it's going to be beneficial to us. This is your opportunity. You can come up and speak now. I mean, I do this coffee morning. I know you've heard it all before, and I'm going to say it again. Initially, it was because of my mum. She lost her battle to ovarian cancer 10 years ago. Since then, my daughter's godfather and a very dear friend of mine, Victor Delaynie, he lost his battle 2 years ago. Then we had a speaker, Audrey C. Brown. She, I wouldn't say very close friend, but we became friends in the last couple of years. And I got to know her. She spoke here one of the years, and she lost her battle last year. And then we have a new honoree, which is a dear sister of mine, Julia Brown. So I do this, and I'm hoping you're going to find something really poignant, because my singer, we've lost the singer as well, something really poignant to celebrate their lives. They were real examples, and I just want to celebrate them every year, and it will be so. Every year their names will be mentioned, their photos will be placed on our memory table, and that's a memory table not just for me. If you have someone that's lost their battle to cancer, the memory table is there, and we will remember them. Give it up for Brother Dougie, come on.
Yes, first I want to give thanks for taking place here, but I think it's only appropriate that I share that there's a brother called Mikey Stay Green, and a very good friend of mine. In fact, in this place here, he keeps quite a few functions, Jamaica Independent Dance, and suddenly, you know, he was struck by prostate cancer. As I'm speaking right now, I really feel it because it was a shock to many of us. Her headache was in hospital, but we had like a checkup. Next thing I know that my friend went and looked for him, and it was the same hospital where Hitman was in. And then you know it's something serious. So it's really just to say that I'm sad that, you know, a great friend of ours, the community, has put so much work here, in this place here. It's literally just a victim to the whole thing of cancer. So again, I want to big up you, my sister, putting this event on. I know Vasco very well because he speaks all over the country on prostate cancer. I know Ricardo very well as well. We very work closely. So it's really just to say that, you know, I'm glad to be here and taking information, and obviously I want to spread the word as well because I myself am ambassador when it comes to everything about health. Thank you.
Kevin's going to find us something nice to celebrate my mom.
Hi, good afternoon. This is Truth QMH here, and I'm here in Tottenham Leisure Centre at the Macmillan Cancer Research fundraiser, the coffee morning. So we've had a brilliant morning with loads of cakes and tea and biscuits. But I'm here today to really just support and show more about what I do, which is I'm a mobile hairstylist. And I do a lot of wigs, wig services, and I did say wig services. I do a lot of wig services and weave services. And I've brought a few samples here today for an example, but really it's to just support those that are going through cancer or recovering from cancer, and people that lose their hair also, because I know hair is such a sensitive subject, and I know that Lord says that the hair is our glory. So just to be able to make women feel more comfortable about their hair and how they're feeling, by presenting them with new looks through via wigs, or it could just be a conversation while they're getting their hair done. But this year's been fantastic. I know next year we're going to have more stalls, and next year I'll have more products to show, and I'm just grateful that I've had the opportunity to be here, and Julie's done a great job. So yeah, you can check me out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and LinkedIn, Truth QMH. QMH stands for Qualified Mobile Hairstylist. Have a blessed day and hopefully I'll see you soon. Just want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to Digital Captures GB. Hey Julie, just wanted to say, how do you find today?
I am so impressed and happy to put on this event every year. At this point in my life, I'm coming into people that are really gifted and skilled in what they do, our nutritionist, the sports expert. I thought he was very insightful. Mike, brilliant guy, raised £504 for us for the event. And all the vendors. I mean, your game is up, darling.
Thank you.
So it's coming to a place where every year it's more tighter, more polished, and we're getting a message across. Last year was about prevention. Today it was looking at stress and cancer. Who knows what it's going to be next year? So I'm really impressed. I love it. I will always do it in honor of my mum, Victor, Audrey, and Julia, and whoever else we're going to honor. So yes.
Fantastic. I just want to say thank you to Julie for having me.
Thank
And
you.
I know next year is going to be even bigger and even
Bigger,
better.
better,
In Jesus'
stronger.
name.
Yeah.
Amen.
Amen.
I'm here at the Macmillan Coffee Morning. Such a great session. I've been here from morning till afternoon, and it's been packed with so much information, really good information. It's been a very good morning. So proud of Julie for what she's put on today. You know, she needs to keep going, just keep putting on more events like this and just informing us. You know, we've had many different speakers and even the testimonies of those who have had cancer and beaten cancer. You know, it's just good to hear those testimonies like that and hear people come out and fight it and come out on the other side on top. You know, so just keep going, Julie. You know, people need to be informed and hear these things and be strengthened, you know, informed. Knowledge is power, as they say, so just keep going and do your thing. All right? God bless.
Hi, I'm Pastor Dion Shaw. I'm the prayer chaplain for the Cancer Macmillan Coffee Morning, hosted by Julie Jacobs. It is a wonderful event to be a part of. I encourage everybody to be a supporter of this Cancer Macmillan Coffee Morning. There are several different locations throughout the nations that host these coffee mornings. It's a wonderful event. Every donation will go into cancer research. Somewhere along the line you may know of a family member, a friend or close relative that has passed on sadly because of cancer, but the donations towards this will help towards cancer research to prevent this from happening in the future to others. So I encourage you all to be a partaker and come along and donate and sponsor these great events across the nations at this time of year. The next one will be hosted here at Tottenham Green Leisure Centre, the last Friday of September 2018. So I do ask you all to be a good supporter of this wonderful event that's saving many lives when you donate towards the cancer research. Thank you.